Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to an end of the year book purge unhaul situation video. Hi guys, today we are going to take a look at my bookcase, hence the kind of different angle, and I'm going to go through with you guys every single book I want to unhaul, ready for the new year, ready to get lots of new books for the new year, ready for all those new releases, all those anticipated releases, and I just want to clear my bookshelves, ready for the start of the year, doing a little bit of a just clear out of all the books that I'm no longer interested in or no longer need to hold copies of. So I thought it would be fun to take you guys along with me. So without further ado, let's get started. Bear with me, I have just got home from work, so I might be a little bit chaotic, a little bit frantic, but that's what this video is all about anyway, because I'm just gonna like quick fire, get rid of books I don't want anymore. But before I do any of the fun part of like tearing books off my bookcase, I'm going to tell you guys the books that I have recently got rid of that I haven't filmed for you guys. I'm going to do quick fire. This is going to be a quick video. I just want to get lots of books off my possession. So the books that I have recently unhauled and given to charity are as follows. Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell, I gave like a 2.3 stars. Really didn't enjoy it. I don't think her thrillers are for me. It's very much more of a dark contemporary and I was looking for a thriller at the time and it just didn't do it for me. Plus I don't think I would ever reread thrillers because you kind of know the ending and I don't care for it. I didn't need to keep it. I read it and put it straight into the unhaul pile. Next one is The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary, and that is literally just because I have 2 copies of it, so I don't need to own 2 copies anymore. Though I did love the book and I gave it 4 to 4.5 stars. I then got rid of Fierce by Ali Raisman, which is an autobiography of an Olympic gymnast. I read it, I enjoyed it, but I'm never going to reread it. I don't need to keep it, so I got rid of it. I also got rid of Murdered Most Unladylike by... the author is blanking me. I read it, but that book wasn't for me, so therefore I don't feel the need to keep it anymore. The next one I got rid of was a very recent read, and that was The Truant by Kate Weinberg. Read it for my readathon in October, the Magical Hopathon. Didn't love it. Immediate unhaul. Then I got rid of This Time Will Be Different by Misa Shariga, which I enjoyed. Once again, I gave it 3 stars. Don't need to keep it, won't ever reread it. And then finally, I got rid of A Half-Baked Idea by Olivia Potts, which was a non-fiction pick for my book club. I read it. Didn't really enjoy it, no need to keep it, not going to reread it. So you can kind of see a theme here. If I don't really enjoy books, I don't feel the need to reread them and I didn't love them, I will unhaul them pretty quickly. Most of the time, if I feel like this book needs to be unhauled, I will unhaul it straight away after reading it. Sometimes I keep books in my bookcase because they fit the rainbow aesthetic. However, I'm going to be so cruel this time round. I'm just going to take books off my bookcase, tell you guys whether I'm going to unhaul them or not, and just go with the flow. So are you ready for a quick fire round? We're not going to be touching the top shelf because these are kind of like some of my favourite books of all time. So none of these are going in the unhaul, but we're definitely going to be splurging at this case and as well as my bookcase over there as well. So let's get started. Okay. Let's go. Obviously, I'm not getting rid of The Road Trip because this was kindly gifted to me and I have not read it yet and I'm very, very excited to read it. So this is obviously being kept. I'm also going to be keeping The Island Home by Libby Page because I think it's a stunning copy. I didn't love this book. I gave it like a 3.5 stars, but I love Libby Page and I want to keep it for that reason. And then I'm just going to do all the books that are kind of just poking out. I'm of course keeping this because I recently read The Ark, absolutely loved it, gave it 4.5 stars. Have no plans of unhauling any Giovanna Fletcher books. Behind me here, I have signed first edition of Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Didn't love this book, gave it 3 stars, but I can't get rid of this book because it holds a lot of memory. It's mine and my boyfriend's first trip to Bath together, and I got it at Topping and Company's booksellers shop. So although I didn't love this book, it holds a lot of meaning, so I'm keeping this one. I'm also keeping my book sleeve that was given to me by Rhiannon from The Welsh Reader. And now we are on to the mess that is my bookcase. So we'll go with the first kind of bluish pile. I'm going to keep 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston because I haven't read this yet and it's perfect for the Christmassy New Year season that is coming up, so this is a keep as well. I'm also going to be keeping Has Anyone Seen My Sex Life by Kristen Bailey because I have yet to read this. This is an adult contemporary comedic book, I believe. Of course, I'm keeping The Beach Cafe because I recently read this and almost gave it 5 stars. It's one of my favourite Lucy Diamond books. I don't know if I'm going to keep this book. This is going in the maybe and we'll come back to it at the end because I started this book, I got 70 pages into it and I don't love the writing style. I don't think this book is for me. However, it is one of Em's favourite books and I trust her. So I want to give this book another go just in case it was more of a me situation rather than the book. So this is going in the maybe pile. Little and Lion by Brandy Colbert I will be keeping because I purchased it and I have yet to read it. Now we're going into the pinkly purpley books. However, we're starting off with Dial A for Aunties, and this was a book club pick for my book club for one of the months, September, I believe. I didn't love this. It's going in the unhaul pile. The next book I have is There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job. I brought this on a whim because I liked the cover and it sounded quite interesting. I don't really have an interest in reading it anymore, but I feel bad. I want to give it a go, so this is being kept for now. Docile is a very recent book to my book collection, so I want to keep it and read it. It's a dystopian, and that's kind of all I know, but everyone seems to rave about this book, so I'm keeping it. Chloe kindly gifted me her copy of Not Here to Be Liked because I'm interested in reading it, so I'll be keeping it. I'm also going to be keeping Rise to the Sun by Leah Johnson because I recently purchased it and I want to read it. I didn't love You Should See Me in a Crown, but I'm excited for this one because it's about a music festival and I love me some concerts. I don't know whether I want to keep this one. 1, 2, 3. No, I'm going to unhaul it because I just have no interest in reading it anymore. Yeah, I tried reading this. I didn't love it. Unhaul pile it goes. And then we're on to my I Heart kind of series. So, of course, I'm keeping Honey Girl because it's one of my favourite books of the year so far. And, of course, I'm keeping all I Heart Hollywood books because everyone, all my friends for my birthday kind of, I don't think realised, but brought all of the books for me. I love this series. It's one of my favourite series of all time. So, of course, I'm keeping it. And then behind me, we have a little bit more of a stack. Last Night by Mahari McFarland. I'm going to unhaul because I didn't love it. And I have an e-copy as well. So if I do ever want to give it another go, I can read the e-copy. So this is going in the unhaul pile. Liam kindly gifted me another Lee Sue Diamond book. So of course I'm keeping it and I cannot wait to read it. The names we gave us, I will also be keeping because I haven't read it yet. And down here are all my Emery Lord books, and I think they're all stunning together. I've rated all of Emery Lord's books a 4-star or more, so I have high expectations for this book and I cannot wait to get to it. And then finally we have Adulting by Liz Tally, and Christy, I believe, gifted me this book. I haven't read it yet and I want to, but it's just one of those books that just kind of never pop up on a TBR game or any TBR prompts, but definitely one I'm interested in reading, so of course I'll be keeping it. And now let's head into the actual shelf. We have Open Road Summer by Emery Lord here, like I just mentioned, so I will be keeping it because I read it and really enjoyed it. I will then have The Start of Me and You by Emery Lord, which I really enjoyed, read, gave it 4 stars, so I'll be keeping it. Piecing Me Together by Renee Watson, once again, gave like a 4-star, read at the beginning of this year and really enjoyed it. I brought it because I read the ebook and loved it so much, so of course I'm keeping the physical copy. In Case You Missed It by Lindsay Kelk. I didn't love this book. I don't think I'm ever going to want to reread it, so I'm going to unhaul it. Half a World Away by Mike Gale, of course I'm going to keep it. It's one of my favourite books of all time. Same goes for The Man I Think I Know by Mike Gale. Really enjoyed it. Do not want to get rid of it. Lucy Diamond, A House for New Beginnings. Really enjoyed it. Will be keeping it. The Poet X. I didn't love this book. 1, 2, 3. I think I'm going to unhaul it. I know, I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry. Billy and Me by Giovanna Fletcher, of course I'm keeping. I have 2 copies, but both of them are signed personally to me, so I got to keep it. Another D book, Always With Love, which is the sequel to Billy and Me, keeping. You're the One I Want, Giovanna Fletcher, keeping. The Ones We Fell in Love With by Paige Toon is one of my favourite Paige Toon books, so of course I'll be keeping it. And I brought it after I read the e-copy, so I bought it because I love the book so much and I wanted to have a physical copy. They Both Die at the End, I really enjoyed. I gave a 4.5 stars, so I'm going to be keeping. Concrete Rose, I think I'm going to unhaul. I really enjoyed The Hate You Give, but I just don't think I'm ever going to want to revisit Maverick's story. And I don't love the cover. I don't love the orange. I'm going to unhaul it. This is like a proper purge. Keeping Felix Ever After, I really enjoyed that book, gave it like a 4 stars. Falling in Love Montage, once again, loved it, gave it 4 stars. We're a Fire on High. I just don't think Elizabeth Acevedo's for me. I've read all of her books, and apart from Clap When You Land, I haven't enjoyed any of her books. I think I'm going to unhaul it. I enjoyed it, it was a 3 stars, but I'm never going to want to reread it, and I'm going to get rid of it. Dream a Little Dream, Giovanna Fletcher, of course I'm keeping. Sun Is Also a Star. I really enjoyed it back in the day, and it does kind of go with my bookcase, so I'm going to keep it. I do really enjoy that book. Field Notes on Love by Jennifer E. Smith, really enjoyed it, going to keep it. Moxie, really enjoyed, gonna keep it. Black Flamingo, loved it, one of my favourite books of all time. Hate You Give, really enjoyed it, gonna keep it. Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens, I'm gonna get rid of because there's a film out, so if I ever want to like revisit the story, I can watch the film, and I didn't love the book so much that it warrants me keeping it. so I'm gonna unhaul it. This is brutal, guys. Loveless is one of my favourite books of the year. I can't get rid of it. On the come up. Now, I can't get rid of every Angie Thomas book, can I? I didn't really like the come up. I read it quite a while ago. I'm going to keep it for now. One in a Million is a Lindsay Kelk book that I really enjoyed, so I'm keeping it. The Lucky Escape and The Love Square, if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I love me some Laura Jane Williams. So, of course, I'm going to be keeping these two books. Second Chance Summer is one of my favourite contemporaries of all time, so of course I'm keeping it. Windfall even, I really enjoyed it at the time. I did really enjoy this book. I remember like reading it in a day. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it. The Flat Share, obviously I'm keeping, but I have already unhauled my other copy that I have duplicates of. And then we have The Assistants. I have yet to read it, but I've heard great things from M, so of course I'm keeping it. We have The Kiss Quotient, which is one of my favourite books. I really enjoyed this book, and Leah kindly gifted it to me for my birthday after having read the ebook. The physical book was on my wish list, so thank you, Leah. And then finally on the top shelf we have Nick and Charlie. This is signed, and it's the only signed book of Alice Osman that I have, so although I only rated this book like a 3 stars, I didn't love it. I'm going to keep it because it has Alice Osman's signature in it, and I do really enjoy her work. So that's that shelf. So I've got rid of quite a few books already. Let's move on to this bottom shelf. I'm going to angle you a little bit. I might be out of frame, but we're going to go here. So we have The Family Holiday by Elizabeth Knoll, and I've tried reading this. I have no interest in ever picking up again, so I'm going to unhaul it. We have The How and the Why, which is a book that I really want to read. I just haven't got around to it yet, so I'm keeping. We have Marion Keyes, Grown Ups, which unfortunately the printing went wrong on this copy. It was kindly gifted to me by Rebecca for my birthday, and it's actually meant to be like this teal sort of colour, but the printing must have gone wrong on this batch of books, and it's a lime green, but nevertheless I'm still excited to read it. And then we have The Sad Ghost Club, which Chloe kindly gifted me her copy, and I want to read it. And then we have Leah Morati's 9 Perfect Strangers, which I got when I was with Chloe in a charity shop, so I do want to read it. Okay, my battery died. I am back. Starry Eyes by Jen Bennett. I enjoyed, but I'm never going to reread it, so I'm going to unhaul it. Sorry, Chloe! Queenie, I brought with Chloe. I have yet to read. I do want to read it, so I'm keeping it. And then A Spark of Joy by Jodie Picoult. I want to read it. I've been interested in it since it came out, so of course I want to read it. And now we are on to the bottom shelf. Dumpling by Julie Murphy I'm going to get rid of because I've read it once. I enjoyed it, but I'm never going to reread it. By Your Side by Casey West was one of my favourite YA romances back when I read it, and it holds sentimental value for me because I got it gifted to me by my mum for Christmas on one of the first years I properly got into reading, and it just meant a lot to me that my family went out of their way to buy me books because it wasn't kind of like a hobby I had before then. So I'm going to be keeping it, and I do think it'll be fun to reread every now and again. I do like a bit of Casey West. Just One Day and Just One Year, I think I'm going to unhaul because I just don't care for them anymore. They were fun when I read it. They were really enjoyable when I first got into reading. But if you guys know me, you know that I'm kind of more drawn to adult books now, and I just don't think I'm ever going to reread them. So I'm going to get rid of them. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of them. And then we have my little collection of Marion Keyes books, all that I've read, all that I want to keep. And then we have How to Be Happy by Evie Woods, and I really remember really enjoying this book. But once again, I just don't think I'm ever going to reread it, so I'm going to get rid of it. If you kind of get a theme, I only want to keep books on my bookcases that are 4 or 5 stars, books that I really enjoy, books that I love, books that I want to reread. I just don't see the point in collecting books for the sake of it. I'm very much one of I want to keep that book because I really enjoyed it. So on that note, Bear Town by Frederick Buckman. I love this author. I think he's brilliant, but I didn't care for this book, so it's going in the unhaul pile. Summer Assault was kindly gifted to me by Chloe, so I'm keeping it and I need to read it. I have yet to read it. Now, Dear Evan Hansen. I love the musical. It's one of my favourite musicals of all time. However, I didn't love the book, so I'm going to unhaul it. Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reid. Really enjoyed this book when I read it last year. Keeping. Meet Cute, which is a collection of short stories, and I really enjoyed some stories in this book, but I don't see the point in keeping it. I'm never going to reread it, so unhaul. This is brutal, guys. This is brutal. Of course, I'm keeping Giovanna Fletcher's Some Kind of Wonderful. I loved After I Do by Taylor Jenkins Reid, so I'm keeping. One of my favourite books of all time, and every morning the way home gets longer and longer. Of course I'm keeping it. Mary Poppins, I've only kept this book because it's Disney and I just don't care for it. I'm going to unhaul it. Dolly Parton's Ghosts, I didn't love, but people have been reading it recently and it's given me the urge to reread. So I'm going to keep it for now and hopefully I will get around to rereading it at some point. We then have, you can't really see anymore, we have Pretending by Holly Bourne, which is one of my favourite Holly Bourne books. Absolutely adored this book, definitely keeping it. We then have Olive, which of course I'm keeping. No way am I getting rid of that beauty of a book. Anxious People by Frederick Bookman, of course I'm keeping it. Really enjoyed this book, gave it like almost a 5 stars. And then we have 3.5 book of the Spinster series by Holly Bourne, and I loved that series when I read it, but I just don't see the point in keeping a short story from that collection anymore, so I'm going to unhaul this book. Guys, I'm doing well, I'm being really brutal. And of course I'm keeping The 24-Hour Cafe by Louis Page because I loved this book last year when I read it. And now onto the other side that you can't really see. 12 Days of Christmas by Jenny Bayliss. I haven't read it yet. I'm hoping to read it this Christmas and fingers crossed I'm going to really enjoy it, so that's a keep. And then we have Winger by Andrew Smith. Don't care for this book anymore. I'm going to unhaul it. The Manifesto on How to Be Interesting by Holly Bourne. Don't care for it. Going to unhaul it. I just kind of brought both of these books because my friend was getting rid of them for cheap and all I have to do is pay for postage. But I don't really care for either of them. I don't know why I brought them, so they're going straight in the unhaul pile. I only spent like £3 on them. And then we have Yoke by Mary H.K. Choi. I tried to read this book, but it's got 200 pages in. I want to give it another go, so I'm keeping. Then we have Sally Rooney's Normal People. Really enjoyed this book. Definitely want to keep it, and I want to read her other works as well and make like a little Sally Rooney collection. And then we have This Is My America by Kim Johnson, which I absolutely loved, so of course I'm keeping it. And then we have these 2 books, and I'm going to keep them because my mum gifted them to me because I really wanted to collect the entire chalk book collection. I don't love these books, but they have a little bit of sentimental value, so I'm going to keep them for that reason. Now going back to Brides and Lovers, I'm going to unhaul. I just don't think I'm ever going to get around to reading this book, so I might as well just be brutal and get rid of it. I'm going to put these books back on my bookshelf and I'll be back and we can conquer the other bookcase. I swear this video is so chaotic, but we're here and my other bookcase, which you guys never ever see. But right at the top we have The Kiss of Deception, which of course I will be keeping. And then we have kind of some of my favourite fantasy series, Caraval, Scythe, Tom Hanks's book that I think is only book, and then the bonus season kind of series up to now. So of course I'm keeping those. On this shelf I'm keeping Philosophy by Elizabeth Day. Really enjoyed this book when I listened to it, and I am glad I now have a physical copy. Internment I enjoyed when I read it, but I don't feel the need to keep it. I'm going to unhaul. Ace of Spades I have 2 copies of, so I'm going to get rid of the non-sprayed edges and keep the sprayed edges. And then we have I Killed Zoe Spanos. I enjoyed, but I don't think I'll ever reread because it was a thriller, so I'm going to unhaul. Full Disclosure by Cameron Garrett I really enjoyed, so I'm going to keep this one. Renegades I haven't read yet. Will I ever? Probably not. I'm going to unhaul. Wilder Girls, no interest in reading this now, unhauling. Want to read this, keeping it. I'm going to keep Ready Player One. Back in the day it was one of my favourite books that I had read. I'm keeping Dry by Neil Schusterman, one of my favourite books. Really enjoyed this book. Gonna get rid of Illuminate, just don't care for reading it. Dark Matter is one of my favourite books of all time. Of course I'm going to keep it. Really enjoyed Girl, Woman, Other, and I would like to reread it at some point, so I'm keeping. And then of course I'm keeping All of the Good Girls Guide to Murder trilogy, as well as the short story. This is actually my auntie's copy and I need to give it back to her, so I'm technically unhauling, but it's going back to the former home. And then I still do want to read How to Fail by Elizabeth Day. I just haven't got around to it yet, so of course I'm going to be keeping it. Onto the next shelf. This is such a bad angle, which is the middle grade books. My boyfriend actually this past weekend gifted me this book because he thought it sounded interesting and cute. It is The Diary of the Christmas Elf, and it's just a cute middle grade short story, so of course I'm keeping this because I haven't read it yet and it's recently been gifted to me. I then have More to the Story by Henna Khan, another example of listening to the audiobook and then buying the physical copy because I loved it so much, so of course I'll be keeping it. And of course I'm going to be keeping both Ashley Herring Blake's books. Love her as an author. I think she does incredible middle grade. Of course I'll be keeping both Ivy Aberdeen and Sunny St James. Then we have one of my favourite books of all time, the first book that got a 5-star from me this year, Me, My Dad and the End of the Rainbow, so of course I'm going to be keeping it. Drum roll please. I enjoyed. I gave it 4 stars, but I just don't think I'm ever going to read it. Sorry if you can see all the dust. So I'm going to unhaul it. I think, yeah, I'm going to unhaul it. It's gone. And then I have When Life Gives You Mangoes. I enjoyed this book. I read it in October, but I didn't love it. I'm going to unhaul it. And I really, really enjoy Front Desk. I have the sequel on my TBR for this month. I don't think I'm going to read it this month though, but I do really enjoy the series and I'm going to be keeping it. And then we have all of my Tom Fletcher books. So the Christmasaurus and the Winter Witch, the Christmasaurus and the Naughty List, Danger Gang and the Creakers, which are all going to be kept. And then right at the bottom, you can't really see, but I will pull them out for you. We have My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. I'm not going to keep it. I'm never going to reread this book, although I did enjoy my time reading it. And then we have The Flight by Julie Clark. Didn't like this book, unhauling. The Girl with the Louding Voice. Have yet to read this book. Am I interested? Kind of, yes. So I'm going to keep it, but it might be in a future unhaul soon. Who knows, but I'm going to keep it for now. Then we have Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club. I tried to read this book a couple of months ago. I didn't love it, but I want to give it another go, so I'll keep it for now. Then we have The Disaster Tourist, which I have yet to read and I'm really interested in reading, so of course I'll keep it. The Man Called Uwe, which is one of my favourite books of all time, so of course I'm going to keep it. Look at all the pretty tabs. We have The Year After You, which is a thriller I haven't read yet, which was kind of gifted to me, so of course I'm going to keep it, as well as Crazy Rich Asians, which I haven't read yet, and of course I want to read before I give it away, so those two books I will be keeping. Then we have Adult by Emma Jane Unsworth, which I think will be a 5 stars. I haven't read it yet, but it is a 5-star prediction. Of course I'm going to be keeping it. Then have The Last Night at the Telegraph Club even. Heard amazing things about this book, picked it up, got it off my wish list, and of course I want to read it. Then we have After Dark, which I read in October and enjoyed it, and I do want to keep it. And then we have Black Buck, which is one of my favourite books of this year. Absolutely loved it, will be keeping, and it's signed by the author. And finally, the last book is This Close to Okay by Lisa Crossmith, which I really enjoyed, read it in October, and of course I'll be keeping it. So those are all the books I'm going to be unhauling on this shelf. Let me put all these back and we'll do a wrap up of all the books I'm going to be unhauling from this end of year book haul, book splurge, no, book purge video. Hi guys, we are back at my normal kind of setup, having just unhauled, I'm going to count quickly, 1 + 2, 30, 3 books. I'm unhauling 33 books, which I'm pretty proud of, to be fair. It's made my bookcase a lot clearer. At the beginning of the video, we had 4 stacks of books up here, along with a lot of books kind of facing outwards. And I've also completely switched up my bottom shelf, so I now have all my I Heart books together. And this is just more like loads of contemporary books, which I'm very, very happy with. So that is also a lot of fun. So I'm really enjoying how my bookcases are looking now. I am so happy I did this. There are a lot of books that have been staring at me recently being like, I don't belong here. I don't want to be here anymore. So I'm glad I finally got rid of them. Sorry if this has been a really chaotic video, but I wanted this to be a quick fire, just rapid, just bang, 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 get rid of lots of books video. So I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give this a massive thumbs up. Subscribe down below to see future content from me. I do lots of other bookish, chaotic videos, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more future uploads. Let me know in the comments down below what your stance is on unhauling books. Do you keep all your books that you've read just so you have a massive collection, or do you, like me, just keep books that you really, really loved and enjoyed? Let me know in the comments down below. And without further ado, I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.